Hi guys. Uh, I rescued some books again. Now, I know there's going to be some judgy judgersons out there thinking, well, this is peak consumerism. Oh my gosh. How could you buy all of these books? And to that I say, I regret nothing. So, I do want to start this video out by saying, I declare a book buying freeze. I am not allowed by my own, imposing. I am not allowed to buy any books until my birthday, which is the very end of August. And then at that point, the freeze will be temporarily lifted. Temporarily, because it is my birthday. Until then, as there have been other videos you have seen, I have plenty of books. Plenty. But, oh my, I've got romances. I've got horrors. I've got literature. I've got fantasy. I've got it all. Let's start with this pile. The Schwab. She came to Utah. It was a great time. She's fantastic to see in person and to see speak. And so what did I do? Well, I went for Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, which I finished this week. So I've already read this one. And there is a vlog to accompany this, but this book is absolutely a masterpiece, beautifully written, about 3 different women over 3 different time periods. It's about being a woman, being restricted by patriarchy, female rage, grief, so many things. I could not recommend this book enough. But of course, she was there to speak. And so there were signed editions, people. So I got the Darker Shades of Magic trilogy, which, I'll be honest, I don't know quite what it's about. I just know that it has been said that it is very good. And then I got Vengeful, because I already have Vicious, and I've been wanting to get Vengeful. And because she's already has the 3rd one done, I know that will be coming soon. So I got Vengeful. So speaking of favorite books, I was able to, the book outlet had their $5.99 fiction sale. So I was able to get the special edition of Evelyn Hugo for $5.99. Beautiful end pages. And even has like an Evelyn signature. So I think I officially have like 1 million copies of Evelyn Hugo now. Not really. I have 3. So, on books that I have read, but I want to reread, I got this off of Pango because it was a signed edition. And that is Dinner for Vampires, Life in a Cult TV show, while also in a cult. I read this audiobook earlier this year when it was released, and this book is fabulous. If you get an opportunity to listen to the audiobook, please do. It is read by the author. But I was also raised in a cult. Well, she wasn't raised in a cult, but she was in one. But I was, and there's so much in here I related to that while listening to it, I was like, I want to read this and annotate it. So I waited until I was able to find it cheap, and then I was just lucky enough to get it signed. I thought that was so cool. Because also, I freaking love One Tree Hill. So I picked up 3 thrillers. A couple I picked up new. Well, they're all new. But one I got from the book outlet. So this is Glass Houses. This is about, so like a tech billionaire and his techie bro staff and their, what's the name of it? Chief Emotional Manager. Her name is Kristen. It's like the only female on the staff. And they crash on this island and they find this house that's like, think Smart House from like the Disney movie. That's like totally connected and stuff. But, you know, the house is going to be sinister. And so it sounds really good. And it's a shorty. So, because I have not been in my thriller era, but this one sounded very interesting that I was like, it piques my interest enough. Then I picked up Ashley Flower's new book, The Missing Half. She released All Good People Here last year or the year before. I don't remember which. But it was a good book, very much like JonBenet Ramsey's case, but actually had a conclusion. And I liked it. And again, a short book. This one is about a woman named Nicole, and her sister has gone missing. And Nicole's life is falling apart. And there is another woman, Jenna, whose sister's also missing, and they come into each other's life, and they end up trying to find their sisters. So, and then of course, Riley Sager's new release. I love Riley Sager. I've really enjoyed like all of his books. This is his new one, With a Vengeance, and it takes place at like 1959, and this woman is on the train seeking vengeance, and it's kind of like Then There Were None vibes and a few other things, but With a Vengeance is a locked room thriller at its best, non-stop suspense with twists and turns. So yeah, anyway. Sounded really fun. I'm looking forward to reading this one. Then let's do my 2 horror novels that I have. So I just have 2. One is a really, really short one that I have thought about for a minute, and then I saw it on the book outlet sale. And that is Craft, Stories I Wrote for the Devil. And this is just full of short stories. At a Halloween party in 1999, a writer slept with the devil. She sees him again and again throughout her life, and she writes stories for him about things that are both impossible and true. Lima lures readers into surreal pockets of the United States and Brazil, where they find bite-sized Americans in vending machines and the ghosts of people who are not dead. Once there, she speaks to modern Brazilian-American immigrant experiences of ambition, fear, longing, and belonging, and reveals the porousness of storytelling of the places we call home. I thought that was really cool. And there's several stories in here. And I have a problem because I have now 3 of her books, and I haven't read a single one yet. But I got Rachel Harrison's Such Sharp Teeth, which is her werewolf novel. So I have Cackle, I have Black Sheep, and now I have this. So I think I might have to do a Rachel Harrison reading vlog and just finally read her books. Now, I am also on a Christina Lauren kick. I read Love and Other Words and The Paradise Problem and just loved them. So now I have 4 of her books to read. I got The Unhoneymooners, which is Olivia and Ethan, and they're in their siblings, like his brother, her sister, their wedding. But everybody but them gets food poisoning at the wedding, and so they have to go on the honeymoon so it doesn't go to waste and have to pretend that they're the newlyweds the whole time. And hijinks ensues, of course. This one sounds so fun, so cute. Then we have The Soulmate Equation and The True Love Experiment. These two, I believe, go together. And it's DNA-based matchmaking, like all sciencey. It reminds me a little bit of that John Mars book, The One, that I absolutely hated and I DNF'd it. But, you know, probably cute. And so there's this one, and then this one is kind of a interconnected one to that, I think. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me. And then last but not least in the Christina Lauren camp, I have my favorite half nightstand. Oh, that's a lie. I have one more Christina Lauren, and I'll get to those in a minute. But my favorite half nightstand, and this is about Millie, who works at UC Santa Barbara. And so they all like make this pact that they'll find dates to this black tie function. But she hooks up with Reed Campbell, who she works with, and it's like super sexy. And then she secretly matches with him online, but he doesn't know that it's her. That's not going to be messy at all. But it sounds really cute. So, okay, so that does lead me into another genre of books I picked up. Which one of them is a Christina Lauren? And that happens to be YA, but queer romantic YA. So the first one is a Christina Lauren book I had never heard of that I found on Pingo, and that is called Autoboyography. It's about a boy named Tanner who moves to Utah, Provo, Utah, of all places, if you do not know. That's like Mormon Central. Anyway, it's where BYU is and everything. Anyway, he moves, and he's bisexual, and so he sort of goes back into the closet because, you know, Mormons are everywhere. And he gets into this writing class, and like his writing mentor classmate is this hot Mormon boy, and he falls for him. And so I'm like, ooh, boy love. So I'm excited to see where that goes. That sounds really cute. And I grew up down there in that area, so I was like, and I used to be Mormon. Not anymore. So I'm really interested to see what that's all about. So that's officially my last Christina Lauren book. And then I have Gwen and Art Are Not in Love. And this is about King Arthur's descendants. Guinevere and Arthur are betrothed. And they don't want to marry each other. And I bet you can't guess why. So that's what this one is about. Lastly, I have Thanks for Listening. This is about Mia, who is an asexual student who basically, she tries to give her friends all the advice, and no one ever listens. And so she starts an anonymous advice site where people can submit they're looking for advice, and then hopefully they'll listen. But then suddenly she starts falling for this girl in her class, and suddenly she's the one who needs advice. Really short, quick read. It sounds super cute. I found this one on Pango too, so I'm really excited for that one here. So the first one I found on Pango, this is actually a new release, but I couldn't find it anywhere, and I was on, obviously Pango and I have a loving relationship, a little bit too loving on my part, which I'm sure Pango doesn't mind. But this is called Main Characters. And this is about Vivian Levy and Lucy Webster. And they would both go up to Maine every summer to visit their dad. One in July, and I think one in June. But it was 2 separate months. And then, here's the twist though. They don't know about each other. They've never met. So then their dad dies, and Vivian, because Vivian lives in New York, and Lucy lives up there, and she's an English teacher. Vivian goes to sell the house and finds Lucy there waiting for their dad. And so then it rocks their whole world, of course. I thought this sounded freaking amazing. So I was like, yes, I must read this. Then I have my very last book of the month order because we don't mess with that guy who Oprah busted how many years ago for lying, and now he's using AI, and you don't know what is me and what's AI. F that. So I canceled that. Too sweet. After I ordered my books because it had already charged me. Anyway, so I ordered The Summer We Ran, which this is about two people who, as teenagers, they had like this, they were in love and they had this like young love. And now they are both adults and they're running for office against each other in their state. And of course, it's politics. So there are skeletons in the closet. It actually sounds really good. So this is the one I picked. And then I wanted an add-on because I've wanted this forever and it's not out in paperback yet. Probably is soon, but The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. So this is about two boys who went missing when they were young, and when they came back, like one of them doesn't remember and the other one does. And the one that does is now a PI. And so again, someone goes missing and the person comes to him to help find, because that person is missing there. And he has to go to the guy and bring him back into it. And I'm just like, anyway, it sounds amazing. And it's queer. So I like that. Then I have another Pango find, which is a book of the month book. This is where I heard about it. But it's called Jackpot Summer. So it's about a bunch of siblings. Their mom dies, and so their dad's like selling their Jersey Shore house. And a lot of them are just like really struggling and down on their luck. So like 4 out of the 5 siblings go and buy a lotto ticket. And the one who's like a successful lawyer, but it's not really liking his job, doesn't go in on it. And guess what? Jackpot! Family drama. So, really want to read that. Also, really want to win the lotto. Manifestation. Anyway. And then lastly, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I got the signed edition from Barnes & Noble. The really pretty space. And then in the back of the Barnes & Noble special edition, there are star charts, which I think are super neat. And also, it is sapphic love romance in here. I didn't know it was sapphic until it came out, but I was going to read it one way or the other because it's Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I love her books. So there we go. All right. We have romance and fantasy left. Let's do fantasy, though, because there's not that much of that. Ooh, there's some heavy ones. Well, one particularly heavy one in this pile, and we'll do that first. When I ordered Atmosphere, I also ordered the Barnes & Noble exclusive of The Night and the Moth. I have not read the Twisted Crowns duology. Let me know down below if I should, though. I have been debating that for quite some time. But this one just sounds so good, I couldn't pass it up. And then I saw the Barnes & Noble special edition, which this is so heavy. Oh my gosh. But look at these edges, and then this book, beautiful, beautiful. And so this is about like a sect of, not nuns per se, but sort of. There are these women and they see the future, but only if they drown and die. And as I understand it, she's called 6. Like, she doesn't actually have a name. She has a number. And then her fellow seers start to die off. And the knight, don't ask me what the knight has to do with anything, but of course he's probably the love interest. And there's a talking gargoyle in it that calls everyone Bartholomew, who I've heard is really funny. But it sounds very, like, I was like, oh, it just sounds really awesome. Oh, Diviners. The Diviners. and they start to die, and I'm just like, oh. And it's not a standalone. I think it's the start of a series. So, but I'm really excited to read that one. You could bludgeon someone with this. This could be a weapon. I pray for my back when I take that around when I'm reading, and it's in my purse. The rest, I got 3 from the book outlet sale, and 2 are newer. But I got Scythe. This is the start, I think, of a trilogy, and it's kind of a dystopian, where, like, this is a job, and, see, a world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all of those things, and it's even conquered death. Now scythes are the only ones who can end life, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. And so this is about Citra and Rowan, who become apprentices, and they do not want to be apprentices. And they must master the art of taking life. Knowing the consequences of failure could mean losing their own. And they learn living in a perfect world comes with a heavy price. But I've heard really, really good things about this series, and so when I saw that for $5.99, I was like, yeah. And then again, me buying series that I haven't even read yet. I got Apprentice to the Villain when I still have Assistant to the Villain to read, but it was $5.99. These pathetic sprayed edges, like, I'm going to need to do something about those. They're very faded, so I can see why this was on, like, the book outlet, like, discount. If you don't shop Book Outlet, though, you're missing great deals. Even when they're not having their $5.99 sale. I'm telling you. And then this one is the second book in Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which I've not read the first one either. So I don't know what this one is about, and I'm not going to read what it's about, just like with that one. But this is The Shadow Cabinet. Okay. Then I have 2 that just looked really, really, really good. So the first, okay, so 2 things come to mind with this book. If you've ever seen that 80s movie, I'm 99% certain that it is Ladyhawk. This is the second time I'm filming this video and making this reference, and I still haven't looked it up. But I swear to God I will when I insert a clip here. The woman is cursed, and like the couple is cursed, and like in the day she's a bird, and at night she's a lady. There's also a Charmed episode of that too that ripped that off, if you haven't seen that and you love Charmed like me. Anyway, that's where Behooved comes in. It's got pink edges, but this is about Bianca, and she is betrothed to Prince Eric out of duty to their kingdoms. And the day of their nuptials, there's an assassination attempt. Oops, he gets turned into a horse. And what does she do? Rides him on out of there to safety. Dirty. But at night, then he's turned back into himself. And they have to save the crown because basically with this assassination attempt, there's like a larger plot afoot. Or should I say, oof. No, I shouldn't, but I did. But this one, it sounds really, really, really good. So I wanted to get it. And then we have, oh, this one sounded really good. Look at these edges. I'm a sucker for edges, what can I say? But it's called A Harvest of Hearts. And this is It says, in the beloved tradition of Howl's Moving Castle, a whimsical and unforgettable story of fantastic adventure, common sense, and the power of love to overcome the greatest of obstacles. So this is about Foss Butcher, and she lives in a world where like you harvest people's hearts for spells, and somehow part of her heart gets harvested for a spell. And so she stomps her way over to be like, I'm getting my heart back before whatever happens, happens. And the sorcerer's name is Sylvester. Sylvester, what? And it's not what she expected. Petulant, idle, and new to his power, Sylvester has no clue how to undo the heart-taking, or how to do much of anything, really, apart from sulk. Foss's only friend is a talking cat, and even the house walls themselves have moods. It sounds so fun. So I picked that up. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, so we've gone through fantasy, horror, literature, my YA, my Christina Lauren's, my V.E. Schwab's. That leaves us the coup de grace, the big, the bad, the romance. We're going to start with my two queer sapphic romances. Okay, so Ashley Herring Blake, Bright Falls trilogy. So Delilah Green doesn't care, Astra Parker doesn't fail, and Iris Kelly doesn't date. She has a new series, and this is Dream On Ramona Riley. So obviously the titular character Ramona. And so she wanted to work in Hollywood and be a costume designer. And that was her dream. But then her father gets hurt in a car accident, so she has to quit school and come home back to her hometown. And so because of that, she's been in her hometown ever since. And here comes to town this movie that's filming. And so it's kind of her chance to like be able to do this. Little does she know that the star of this movie is her ex. There's only one problem. Dylan Monroe, her first kiss, and Hollywood's favorite wild child, is the star. So it's a second chance romance. Love it. Okay. Then we have Kiss Me Maybe, where we have library assistant Angela Gutierrez, who is asexual. So that's why I picked it up. But she's never been kissed. And she gets online and starts talking about it. And suddenly she really becomes an influencer. And is proposing an online scavenger hunt to find just the right woman to share her first kiss. But planning an intricate trail of clues, all leading to Angela and her waiting lips, is a bigger challenge than anticipated. Fortunately, love-averse bartender Crystal Ramirez is happy to offer support, even if her irresistible, teasing smile makes Angela's heart pound just a little too hard. But soon Angela realizes that her search for that perfect kiss, not to mention who she really is, might be more than she can handle. And worse still, she might be catching feelings for the one woman who's sworn off love altogether. So I'm pretty sure it's Angela who's the asexual, but now I'm not 100% sure. But someone in this book is ace, and they're both sapphic, and I love it. And it sounds really cute. I've heard mixed things on it, but I think it sounds really, really cute. Then I decided I wanted to get into my Catherine Center era. And so with that, I took my little happy booty over to Pango, and I got The Bodyguard and Hello Stranger. So this one, the main female character has face blindness, I believe. And this one, she is the bodyguard to him. And I've heard good things about both of them. So I decided these would be the two that I start with. Particularly probably this one, but I don't know. Let me know down below which one you would read first. So then I have a couple books that I did pick up for my Books That Made Me series. And so let's go over those. So one that I got, this is one that I've read in the past that like I had a really big hyperfixation on for a while, were the Janet Ivanovich, Stephanie Plum novels. And so I picked this one up off of Pango. This is One for the Money. The movie version, I had the original version a long time ago. Then another one, I haven't read this one in particular, but Nora Roberts. That was a big thing for me and my grandma. She, other than the Harlequins, she loved Nora. And so then as I got older, into like my late teens, early 20s, I really got into Nora Roberts with her. And so I picked this one up called Whiskey Beach because it sounded really good. This is about a Boston lawyer, Eli. He's gone through a lot of stuff, and like his soon-to-be ex-wife was murdered. So he goes to this place called Bluff House, and meets a woman named Abra Walsh, who basically is a jack of all trades. Like, she's a housekeeper, a yoga instructor, a massage therapist, and she really helps him because obviously someone's trying to destroy his life, and so she helps him with that. And of course it'll be sexy times because it is Nora. I don't know why I used that accent, but I did. I do regret that. Anyway, and then lastly, for my books that made me, I got the No trilogy from Meg Cabot. So we've got, and I got these off of Pango. No Judgments, No Words, No Offense. No clue what order they go in. I'll figure that out when I get to them. But I have not read these ones. These are her newer ones. But again, hyperfixation. I was obsessed with Meg Cabot. Like, she came to the King's English, when I was like 20 in Salt Lake, and I had my picture taken with her. It was on my credit card at one point. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, loved The Princess Diaries. Loved all of her adult chick lit novels, if you remember when things were called that. And so I thought, instead of rereading something from her, let's see if I still enjoy her work. Because if so, I can get back into her work and back into the things she's written. I would really enjoy that if that's the case. So I thought this would be a good one to start with. One I picked up that everybody's been talking about lately, because this is a brand new release, is Not Safe for Work. This is about Trishara. Yeah, Trishara. And she is the first woman of color working at her company, but then she gets passed up for promotion by the boss's son. Nepotism. But of course they go on a Hawaiian business trip, and oh my gosh, there's only one room. There's been a mix-up. You guys have to share a room. I'm betting there's not a mix-up, sir. But it's had mixed reviews, but the reason I got it was because I have heard there is migraine representation in here, and as that is my life, and I don't think I've ever seen a book with migraine representation, I thought this would be good to pick up. So, got What If I Never Get Over You, which sounded so cute. This is by Paige Toon. This is about Ellie and Ash, and they spend like 3 hot days in Europe and Lisbon, and come the 4th day, Ash doesn't show up, and so she just goes on about her life, kind of heartbroken, and then 6 years later, she's working kind of as a gardener, like doing her dream job, and suddenly he's back in her life. He's there. And sparks fly. But no, it sounded really good. It sounds like a really good summer read. So this one I got, called Lovesick, is about Grace and Julian, and they're both OBGYNs, and they're working like ruling shifts. I thought this was funny. After all, he's just as fed up with the toxic brobe GYN culture as she is. That was dumb. But of course, it's like workplace rivals to lovers. And for whatever reason, this is giving me Grey's Anatomy vibes. I'll be honest, that's why I picked it up. Then I got two more. These are my last two books from Pango, and then all of these came from Book Outlet. So my last two from Pango, I am on a mission to read all of the rest of Ashley Poston after I read 7 Year Slip and fell in love. So I picked up a novel love story. I know everybody had like mixed thoughts on this last year when she like drives into basically her favorite story, and then there's a guy that's not in the books there. It sounds really interesting. It's a very interesting concept. So I got this. This is one called The Rehearsals. And this is about Megan and Tom. And like it's the day before their wedding, actually the night before their wedding, and they're at their rehearsal dinner and things just blow up so badly they just call it all off. They're done. It's over. And then they wake up the next day and it's the day before their wedding and the day of the rehearsal dinner. And basically it's Groundhog's Day. All over again and again and again and again. And it sounded so cute. I had never heard of this. That is why I love Book Outlet and getting on Pango and just like dinking around and looking, because I always find books I would have never ever heard of. Okay, so my last 5 are a few that I got from Book Outlet from the $5.99 fiction sale. So this one is called Love Naturally, and this is about Presley Ayres. And she's not an outdoorsy girl, but she's dating a guy who is. And so she books like this really awesome outdoorsy getaway that she can go with him, and it's like hiking and fishing and all of that. And then the jerk dumps her. And she's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm still going. And so she goes, and when she gets there, Beckett Keller is like the owner guy, and he's like, why is she here? But he's like, I don't got time to worry about this. This place is falling apart, and I gotta fix this, and blah, 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 blah. Opposites attract much? Ooh. So yeah, that's what that's about. Okay, this one sounded really interesting. And I don't know if anybody else has heard of this, but it's A Daughter of Fair Verona. So turns out Romeo and Juliet didn't die, and they had 7 kids. And they keep trying to marry off their eldest daughter. And she keeps matchmaking them with other women because she's like, oh my gosh, you guys are so dramatic. You can't take care of crap. I'm the one who's got to run this house with all these kids, because she's like 20. And her parents are like declarations of love and fighting and getting back together. And it's, yeah. But they betroth her, or whatever it's called, to someone like that she can't shake, and he's like had like past wives die mysteriously. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is like a romance or a mystery. We're not sure, but it sounds really good. And look at that, look how cool. So yeah, I've heard about this book like ages ago when it first came out, and so then I saw it on the sale. It's like, well, look at that. Brianna buying series that she hasn't read yet. Take 5 million. I got the second in the Skyland series, This Could Be Us. Still haven't read the first one, though it is on my list to do because it's on my intimidating books list. I know I've got to do it. But this one is about Soledad, and she's divorced, has kids, meets a guy who's also divorced and has kids, and then they start to get together, and it's a blended family thing. So that's what that is, like re-entering love after divorce and having, like, blending your family. That sounds really good, so I'm excited to read that one. Her books, I know they're so good. Everybody raves about them. I just need to be brave. And I got the classic TikTok banter loving, the hating game, basically. Workplace Rivals to Lovers. Was on the $5.99 sale for banter, and I'm like, oh, looks really good. So, whew, and last but not least, I got, okay, apparently I had a theme of books. This is Just Another Love Song by Carrie Winfrey, where the theme is 2 people from a small town are in love, and want to make it big, but one gets stuck in the small town and the other one actually makes it big and then comes back. That's what this is about too, except this one isn't gay. This is straight people, as far as I'm aware. And so this is where Sandy and Hank wanted to make it big and be country stars or singers or whatever. And Hank makes it. Sandy doesn't, and so she's stuck in the small town. Hank goes on, and so 15 years later, he comes back to the small town and second chance at love. That was an unintentional theme. I did not mean to buy two books that had that same theme, essentially. Jeez Louise, guys. Let's see how many I've got. 49 books, holy hell. But like I said at the beginning of this video, this is why I'm on a book buying freeze. So, with that being said, no more books until my birthday. So that's a good couple months from now. Ooh, 2 months from the day I'm filming this. Hi now. Like I said, I don't regret it. I love books. But we're going to give my wallet a bit of a break. And my bookcases. And me, I'm sick of rearranging. So on that note, if you liked this video, go ahead and like this video. Smash that like button. It helps my small channel out, helps YouTube know that people are watching and like what they see. And if you do like what you see and want to see more, subscribe, stick around. I'd love to have you. We're a small crew. It'd be great. And on that note, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.